We all have our calling and our purpose, and if we don't, we try through our organization help find that, what matters, what inspires them.
Welcome to Women and Work, the show where we focus on our unique challenges, whether we're climbing the corporate ladder, growing our own business, or navigating the complex juggle of career and kids. I'm Diane Moca, founder and CEO of the childcare app MomSub, like a substitute mom. Today we meet one of many women making work fit her life. I'm Diane with Talk Lab, and we are talking to 1,000 people in Aurora, people like Caroline Sanchez Crozier. Tell me, Caroline, what are you doing currently? And
Sure. The work I do today has evolved over decades in me being part of technology, growing up with technology. I have a nonprofit. It's called Digital Leaders Now, and it brings together initiatives in communities, bringing educators, students in particular, to at the forefront, and industry experts in technology, so that our mission is to help build that more robust tech pipeline, ultimately for more entrepreneurship, for more talent being hired to grow businesses, and basically to be participants of this thriving technology that we have. And not everybody's currently participating. So what I see today is an example of a holistic view of how technology can elevate. And our mission is to engage more digital leadership so that we thrive in how we live, learn, work, and play. So I definitely see us playing a role.
nice. So what is your title? What is your role?
So I'm the founder and CEO.
You're
I'm
the
founder and
founder.
CEO.
This
Yes.
vision came from your head.
Yes, after 3 decades of also being a founder of an IT company, CSC Consulting Group, that I started in the late 80s and started working in formally as a CPA in corporate and wanting to continue my career while raising two small children. I became an entrepreneur and it ended up being in education. And I fell in love with the purpose of technology as a resource to help improve teaching and learning. And I worked with Apple the first few years in the 90s. And over decades, we've grown up with technology, with the internet, and now with AI, and it just keeps growing and growing. And I saw that the gaps are widening between those that are not using it, not exposed to it, and the technology being so pervasive. So that's where I stepped down from my business to start this nonprofit and build that leadership intentionally with these 3 different sectors that I mentioned.
Wow. Well, unfortunately, many people still, although it's changing, when they think of tech, they think of a young white man, right? And that's still predominant in the tech industry and in Silicon Valley. There are definitely more voices, and that there needs to be. That helps. The more perspective and voices, the better. But how did you become part of that world? And did you face barriers in trying to go where you wanted to go when you found out that you had this passion for tech?
Well, that's what inspired me to get this nonprofit started, is that I got into tech by accident. And too often when we're growing up or we're in school and we pick careers as early as middle school, we start shaping what we want to be when we grow up. And too often those things are not including technology. We think it's hard, we think it's boring. So many of us, like myself, we end up shifting careers from one area to another. So it was by pure accident that I wanted to have a flexible, career and raise my family. Ended up in the world of education with technology being at that time led by Apple. The more I did it, and the more I saw that not everybody's involved in technology, and I wanted to be very intentional to be. So all the people that we hired in my company, we had to homegrow them because we did not find a lot of the talent. You want to be very intentional to bring in people from our community. I grew up in Summit. I'm here. I'm happy that I was here introduced by, invited by Roberto, from Hispanic Public Media, because we want to be more intentional to share stories from people like myself, a Latina immigrant from Michoacan, that first gen, first to go to college, and yet I'm in technology and I've been a 1% tech entrepreneur 30-some years ago, and I still am. So we want to be able to change that. And so my way of paying it forward, having my business not run by my son and nephews and others, to now be proactive in bringing in students from communities, from zip codes where they're often not, they don't have those connections, they don't have those families that bring them and expose them. So I want to bring industry leaders. So Aurora could be an example. And we do this through an initiative called Ganas. Now, I don't know if you don't know Spanish,
No, I
what
don't, I'm
Ganas
sorry.
means. Ganas has two meanings. Ganas, we use a lot in our culture. It's Mexican and many Latino cultures, means grit, determination, overcoming obstacles, as immigrants, as just hardworking. But we don't connect it to the technology opportunities. So we want to bring in the Ganas that we have in our DNA and connect it with technology. So we bring industry leadership. We bring in, and many that look like us. As they say, you got to see one to be one. So we bring intentional, experts in technology. Many are from my company, as an example, or others. And we partner with schools, with professors and students who are taking tech, but they don't have those experiences, their hands-on experiences. And then with Ganas, we then go into community and we adopt those community organizations and we engage them in real world projects. So that's what we want to do. And we could do this in Aurora. We're doing it right now in other parts, like in Summit, Illinois, where I grew up. And, it's really just including and expanding those opportunities and demystifying technology because it affects all of us. We either are going to be users and consumers and being controlled by what's in AI, or we're going to be creators and build and be intentional about how we want to be seen and the voices and the value that we bring to the table.
You said you worked for Apple. Did you work for Apple locally in the Chicago area?
Actually, we work, when I started my company, they needed partners. So the world of minority women-owned businesses, I started as a certified women-owned business, and Apple brought us in as a partner, representing them in schools in Chicago.
Oh.
So yeah, we
You
worked
worked
with
with Apple.
With Apple.
Okay.
We were like a partner for
But
them
right
in the
here
schools,
in the Chicago area.
Yes, in the Chicago
and
area.
right in your own community.
Yep,
And so
yep.
you got more and more involved in the tech world
Yes.
through the lens of your own community.
Yes,
And then being a role model for others. But that's a big leap to then say, I'm going to have my children take over the business and start this nonprofit. And the whole reason you started the business was to spend more time with your children because the work you were doing previously was kind of taking you away or it didn't have as much flexibility.
I was working in corporate, different companies, major corporations, McDonald's, Kraft, I was at Deloitte Touche. And I realized that women then, and I still think many women today in particular, don't have those flexibility, as far as their schedules. And yet we want to really still be in the workplace and have our career, aspirations. So I felt that as an entrepreneur or solopreneur at the beginning, I would have that flexibility. And now, 37 years later, my children who were 2 years and 9 months are now, one of them is running the company with others. And now I'm like, okay, my way of giving it back or paying it forward is provide this opportunities and awareness about the opportunities with technology and do this through this nonprofit and engaging industry, engaging universities and schools, engaging community leaders where they're also needing technology resources. So bringing this ecosystem together and with our Ganas initiative, that will even include a think tank to bring in change in policy and research and how do we increase the potential and the opportunities of this human capital that too often is left on the table because they don't have that access to those opportunities. So that's what the nonprofit is about.
So share a success story with us. Somebody that, like yourself maybe, that might not have accidentally gotten into tech, but had an affinity for it and is having success with it as a result of the outreach and the connections that you're making in the community with these tech organizations.
So right now we're working with 3 universities, at Illinois Tech, Dominican University, where I went to school, met my husband of 45 years now, and Roosevelt University. And we are identifying HSIs, Hispanic Urban Institutions. So we bring in, story would be where students that have that career pathway of technology, but they don't have the internships or the opportunities to you know, get into the real
the hands-on
to see,
experience.
is this really what I want to do?
Right.
And build a confidence, that sense of belonging. So, we started our first year of Ganas this year in the Chicagoland area and in Summit. And I ended up asking my uh, employees for my company to volunteer, to be coaches. And we do IT work in the field. We do IT support, small businesses, nonprofits. So we asked a coach to lead this, my nephew, Christian Julius, and to adopt the students, work with them side by side and professors. And we went into either a library or a school, and they actually did the work. Our employees who typically do the work of doing an IT assessment, infrastructure, and all the techie stuff that is needed, we had the students walk through the process, and they learned, and they were juniors and seniors, and they did it as a capstone project and an internship, and the success story is they walked away after a semester showcasing what work they did in partnership with IT experts and coaches, and they were able to present their work in front of an audience at Roosevelt University, and they really felt accomplished, and they felt like they could include that in their resume, and in the end they were able to get jobs. They were able to get secure jobs in sharing in their portfolio that they had this hands-on real work experience, because in today's world of education, it's no longer about traditional classrooms. It's about real work experience and being able to relate to the environment of technology in the workplace. So those are an example of success stories that we have at the high school, at the college level, and we have similar stories with schools like Ridgewood High School in Norridge, Illinois, with Agro Community High School. So it goes on and on, and we really invite more industry partnerships to help us build, to grow with us, to invest, so that the human capital and their future employees are tech savvy. And we also have sessions for parents, so the parents can understand new careers that they don't even know about, for their kids to not just follow traditional careers, but innovative careers, like in AI, in VR, and robotics, and all kinds of things that we're so underrepresented because we don't have that awareness and understanding,
Or
the
role
support,
models
or
even.
role models, and that's where I want to play that role. What my idea for inspire us. What do I aspire? I aspire to continue to inspire more uses and more digital leaders in all spaces, so that we can thrive in how we live, learn, work, and play. That's really the ultimate goal. In everything we do, we can all participate and all create and all benefit, because there's also concern about what technology can do and taking away jobs, and there are ethical issues, but we've got to be at the table having these discussions and address them in a positive, holistic way.
And people do talk about on the dawn of AI that there are going to be many jobs in tech that are going to be eliminated or changed or evolve. And so, as you're introducing these ideas of working in tech to people, how is AI changing what you're putting people towards, what you're offering to people, and are there certain ways that you're steering people away from certain jobs and technologies that are going to be done more and more by AI, and how can the leaders of tomorrow get involved in AI? Why is this a good thing and not a thing that people should be nervous about?
Well, certainly the conversations are continuing, and we want to be engaging everyone at the table, because our life experiences bring different, issues to the table, different challenges, different concerns, different worries. And for example, planning a community, a Ganas community forum for parents to talk about it. What are their fears? What's worrying them about? Because right now they're talking about 40% of jobs are going to go away with AI. Well, but there are other jobs that haven't even been created yet. So let's be prepared for those. So those are the kind of conversations we're having at the table. We want to bring in experts that are doing, future technologies that are just in the initial stages, with, um, you know, advancements that are still creating future jobs, but the students need to be open to it. We need to start as early as middle school, because many times this is when we say, well, I want to pursue being a nurse or a teacher or a doctor. Nothing wrong with that, but technology incorporates all those fields. It's not just being technology for technology's sake. It's how does that technology affect and impact my particular field of study or interest or passion. And that's what we want to demystify, that it's no longer about being a coder, a programmer, or an engineer. It can be that, but it can also affect how you become a better social worker or nurse or teacher. That's the conversations that we're having, demystifying it and make it relevant in your everyday life.
How do you think your organization, Ganas, changes people's lives in terms of where they are socioeconomically? Do you envision being able to give people a bridge to technology to help them have a better standard of living? Do you want to do it so that they have more comfort with technology? Is it all of those things and more? What are some of the other reasons?
Well, with our nonprofit Digital Leaders Now, it does have three different pillars. So in the education sector, we wanted to be build that career pathway, that pipeline, so that there are more career options and awareness for those students that typically would not have those coaches or role models. So we want to bring that in. For the community, we want to address what you said earlier, the basics. What are the basics? How do I use my phone in a positive way, in an effective way? How do in a way that's protected with my identity, with my content? So we do sessions in libraries for the older citizens in that case. With education, we do STEM programs after school or the summer. For the industry, with the Ganas initiative in particular, we are intentional to bring industry partners in building that, not only the workforce, but not in today's age, there are no such thing as jobs for 15, 20 years like it used to be, right? So you have to be very entrepreneurial. Whether you start your own business or you have your side hustle to work with, you need to be exposed and be open with many options. So we also build an entrepreneurial pathway, like my experience that I had when I was in corporate, and then I started my business, and I had this balancing with my family. We want more of those opportunities to be out there and providing those foundational skills and the confidence and the belief that they can do it as well, because we're here. We are a resource, and Aurora and others have resources, but we just need to be out there and not be stuck in what may no longer be in existence as far as jobs or things that are now being taken over by technology. So it's being open and changing that mindset of, I would say, scarcity, but more a mindset of abundance. And I always tell my stories when I speak and I'm asked to talk about what drives me. It's, have something that really drives you. Like for me, it's that passion and pride and purpose to make a difference in our community, because I experienced many of those things, many of those challenges. My parents were immigrants. My dad was undocumented in the 50s. And so we came with that hard work ethic, strong family values, but technology wasn't pervasive now, and now it's critical. It's essential to participate. So we all have our calling and our purpose, and if we don't, we try through our organization help find that what matters, what inspires them, and I think that's we're seeing those changes. We're seeing, the elderly women or men, get excited about the power of their, phone. And we see students who have not taken technology with our programs saying, I'm going to pursue, cybersecurity, a changing career for me because it didn't exist 10 years ago. So those stories are incredibly powerful to us, and that's what drives us. That's what keeps us going.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure you're overcoming people's fears
For sure.
about the technology, because people are afraid of things they don't know, they don't understand, they don't interact with. People are afraid of other people that they're not used to. And the more you get people together with people, tech, all the different things that aren't part of their everyday world, the more comfort they get, and then the more that fear goes away, I would imagine.
Absolutely, absolutely. So the key is to be at the table, be not afraid, have a sense that you belong there like anybody else. And that's what our nonprofits, our partners, we really invite everyone to participate because together we can really collectively enhance our economic power in our communities, create future jobs, grow businesses. Really, there's so much to offer and so much to do. And this opportunity and being here about what the city of Aurora is doing, what we're doing with Ganas at the state level, we all have something to contribute. We all have value to add, and it's just a huge opportunity that we look forward to continue this conversation.
And we appreciate the opportunity to hear from you and all that you're doing with Ganas to help others in your community. And that just spreads out. You help one person and it touches so many lives. You're helping the businesses to expand their pipeline and bring in, like you said, new perspectives and just helping people see more possibilities that are out there.
Absolutely.
And if you found this conversation helpful, inspiring, or just refreshing for shining a light on the messy parts of life, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend. If you want to invest in a solution to the childcare crisis, you can reach out to me at diane@momsub.com about the MomSub Equity Crowdfunding Campaign, or connect with MomSub on LinkedIn or other social media platforms. That's MomSub, like a substitute mom. Remember, your career, your choices, and your success are yours to define. Keep pushing boundaries and spreading your love and encouragement to other women who need it.